Now it's the Goodyear Blimp that's taking a knee. Hi, I'm Scott Ott, and this is Bill Whittle now. And Bill, it's not literally the blimp, but a report that's circulating on social media has a picture of a slide that was used in a Topeka, Kansas plant manager's presentation about appropriate behavior in the workplace. And on that slide, which outlines Goodyear's zero tolerance policy, it says that it is acceptable to wear T-shirts or to use slogans in support of Black Lives Matter or in lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer rights issues. However, what is unacceptable are phrases or slogans revolving around Blue Lives Matter, All Lives Matter, any kind of MAGA, Make America Great Again apparel, and any kind of political signs or slogans. Goodyear says it wants to maintain an inclusive and respectful workplace, and so it's okay to defend equity issues, but not to campaign for political parties or political candidates. Bill, you nodded your head early on as if you had seen this. What's your reaction at the outset to this kind of a company policy that's just trying to protect people from divisive arguments?
Yeah, Make America Great Again, Blue Lives Matter are overt political campaign ads for Donald Trump, while Black Lives Matter and LGBTQ, so on, are perfectly neutral expressions that have no political context whatsoever. It is part of the criminalization of conservative ideas. It is actually taking it to a level where it's not just company policy that it's okay to agree with far left progressive ideas, but under no circumstances can conservative ideas be expressed. And furthermore, to be honest with you, since it's offered in diversity training, it's also putting down a marker that basically says, if you are not willing to wear an LGBT or a Black Lives Matter t-shirt, but you do want to wear America Great Again, Make America Great Again hat, then there's something psychologically wrong with you. And that's why we need to give you this special counseling session.
Well, Bill, they're not saying there's something psychologically wrong with you. They're basically saying that the workplace is out of bounds when it comes to political campaigning slogans and materials, and that if you're endorsing a candidate or a party, that is out of place. But just civil rights and equity, everybody believes in that.
Black Lives Matter, hashtag Black Lives Matter, is a political organization. It's an actual political organization funded by George Soros, has nothing to do with racial equity. If racial equity were the issue of Black Lives Matter, they would concentrate on the 96% of the way that Black lives are lost in America, which is being murdered by other Blacks, and not by the 4% that are killed by policemen under any circumstances. It is a political statement. It's a political movement of the far left, and put that aside because we all know what that is. It's not like this is, we don't have to, I'm not going to play this game in terms of that. What I think is the salient point here is that so much of this nonsense has been allowed to happen because of the rank cowardice on the part of the organizations of this country. The college campuses, which have been left-wing leaning all the time, nevertheless, there's no boundaries for them. There's nothing that they won't do if a couple of pink-haired students demand it, nothing that they won't do. And for other companies like the NBA or Gillette or now Goodyear, to do this, everybody knows what they're doing, or at least people who think about it know what they're doing. Goodyear is doing this to protect itself, not just legally, but to protect itself from having the mob come after it. And this cowardice in the face of the mob is what is basically allowing the mob to continue to grow in strength and intimidation.
You know, it's interesting, Bill, because I had a friend a number of years ago, and maybe things have changed in the workplace now, so I'm just kind of relaying something that I remember hearing probably 10, 15 years ago. A friend of mine worked at one of the major automaker plants in this country, and he was, as he had to be, a member of the union. But union officials, who were also employees of the factory, would call him and say, hey, we need you in the phone center on Thursday night from, 6 to 9 so you can make calls on behalf of the Democratic candidate for president or the local Democratic candidates. And he said, well, I'd be glad to come in and volunteer on the phones, but I don't think you'll like what I have to say to the people I call. And that was the way he kind of excused himself from that. So, Bill, in a sense, at least unionized workplaces have been highly political environments environments, despite that so-called firewall between union membership and political activity of unions. Why do you think this is different now? If you want to come to work, let's say, wearing a t-shirt that has nothing but 4 letters on it, MAGA, that's an overt political statement and cannot be allowed.
If I come to work wearing a MAGA t-shirt or MAGA on my t-shirt, that is a political statement. If I come to work wearing a t-shirt that says hashtag Black Lives Matter, that is also a political statement. Here's a refreshing idea for Goodyear to consider. Maybe they should have a policy that says that we allow no political statements. In fact, we allow nothing that's printed on a t-shirt. We don't allow any kind of statements on a t-shirt. We have customers from all different political viewpoints here, and it is inappropriate for our employees to wear anything like that. As a matter of fact, since they are working at a company, it's inappropriate for them to be wearing t-shirts, period. How about that for a thought? I remember when I saw this post on Instapundit yesterday, I think Glenn posted it, not 100% sure, sounds like him, but the banner above this thing was, I remember when Goodyear used to just make tires. How is that so terrible? How is it so terrible that Goodyear just goes and makes tires? What on earth has allowed Goodyear to get to the point where they have to basically say which political statements are okay and which ones aren't, when frankly none of them are okay?
Do you think they would accept something that's really product related, like a slogan, bumper sticker, a t-shirt that said "White Walls Matter"? I'm sorry about that. You know, a number of years ago, again, all my stories come from way back in the old-timey days. But I worked for a major corporation in these United States, a division of about 900 people of that organization. And one day, when it was a Friday and anybody could wear a t-shirt on Friday, Fridays was casual Fridays, you could wear a t-shirt if you wanted to. I had a t-shirt that had a cross on the back of it, no Jesus on the cross, just a cross. And it said, "Take up your cross and follow me." And it had a small scripture reference to that. It didn't mention Jesus, didn't mention Christ, didn't say Christianity, didn't say come to Jesus and anything like that. They sent me home. The lady down at customer service wearing the Ozzy Osbourne biting the head off a bat t-shirt, of course, continued to do her job. How do companies navigate these tricky situations where on the one hand, they don't want to have any kind of discrimination going on in the workplace. On the other hand, they'd like to be, at least half as free as the country in general.
Well, I'm glad you brought this up because I want to make it crystal clear here. My problem with Goodyear is that Goodyear has selected which political statements are okay and which ones aren't. And they've made the decision that left-wing political statements are allowed and conservative political statements are not allowed. And they did that because there's no conservative mob that is chasing after them and threatening to burn down their buildings and so on if they don't comply. So I am against that aspect of it is because I think it's discriminatory and I think it's appalling. For many reasons. But with that said, I personally think, as I said a minute ago, that it is inappropriate for any employee of any company who is facing the public to wear any kind of a t-shirt that has any kind of political meaning on it at all. And this is something that I would apply to the NBA and to all the rest of these organizations.
Even a cause that's not explicitly.
Hold on. Why don't you just shut up and play basketball? Why don't you just shut up and play football and leave the political stuff to the political arena? Why don't you just shut up about it and just simply deliver the product to all of America instead of deciding which side you're going to be on and cutting out, in the case of the NFL, not just half your audience, probably I'd be willing to bet you 90% of your audience. Same for all of this stuff. It's got to stop.
I find it hard to believe that somebody in HR is going to go make that phone call to the employee who's in a customer-facing position and say, look, you can't wear the Black Lives Matter t-shirt, to which the employee might say, are you saying that Black lives don't matter? Well, no, sir, you just can't wear the t-shirt. Well, so what you mean is I can express myself that racial equity and racial fairness in this country is a laudable goal. Is it a laudable goal here at Goodyear? And
it is a laudable goal here at Goodyear. However, your ability to express your opinion on on racial equality and injustice in this country is not in the slightest bit inhibited by the fact that it is the policy of the Goodyear Tire Company that political expression of any kind is forbidden to all employees in the store, in any of our stores, regardless of what that opinion is. So you either lose the shirt or you're fired. And I would say the same thing to somebody wearing a Donald Trump t-shirt. So make up your mind. Do you want to have your political expression? You'll have a lot more time for it if you're unemployed. But that is the policy of the company. And that policy is there because it is not our job to antagonize our customers. It's our job to make them feel happy and have them come and buy some more tires. And if somebody gives you an argument about that and you back down, which is what's happened during the entire 20-year period of this political correctness thing, if you back down, there is no end to it. You will walk back until you fall off the cliff. And if you think, Goodyear, if you think that this will protect you, I would remind you of the high level, I mean the highest level progressives who've been consumed by this mob. No matter what they do or say, there is no protection from them. And to be fair, you don't have to take the opposing position. You simply say, we do not allow any political commentary of any kind, and that includes football jerseys, for example, because if I'm wearing a Bears jersey and a Packers fan comes in, I might lose the sale. No, it is not happening on company policy, on company time. You can do whatever the hell you want to when you're not working for us, but if you don't like it, we'll find somebody who is willing to work without making a political statement every single time they answer the phone or show up and take a customer's questions.
Ladies and gentlemen, this story came to us from WIBW.com out of Topeka, Kansas, if you want to check into that. We're grateful to the members of BillWhittle.com who have made this possible. They are the ones who are contributing, some as little as $9.95 a month, some as much as almost $50 a month, to make sure that this message of liberty rings strong around the world. If you'd like to become part of that band of happy warriors, you can go to BillWhittle.com and click the big green Become a Member button. For Bill Whittle, I'm Scott Ott. Thanks for watching.